I'm kind of ashamed. I kind of feel silly because I could have sworn I read so much more, but in reality, I've only finished 3 books since Giselle's bucket list. And that was Touch by Courtney Mom, which is fiction. And I finished that really early this month, like on the 5th or the 6th or something. It comes out on the 30th. And I'm recording this at 2 o'clock in the morning on the 28th. So as of my recording this, it hasn't come out yet. It was a digital galley that I got from First to Read. Once again, if you don't mind reading digital copies of books and you would like to get digital galleys, go to First to Read. It's not exclusive to anybody, it's free. All I can tell you is it's not a book that I would recommend to everyone. Sometimes you will read a book and it's so good and you're sitting here telling everybody about it. This isn't one of those books, and it's not because I didn't like it. I did. If you've ever read a book that you enjoyed, but you immediately know that not everyone's gonna like it. Like, it's not one of those books that every one of your friends is gonna like. That's what it is. I recorded 2 videos before this one, sitting here trying to explain what this book was about, and I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. I know it's kind of lazy for a booktuber to be like, read the synopsis yourself, but I just have a hard time. To me, it's a very emotional novel, and there's a lot of satire. There's these two opposing movements between physical touch, contact with your family, talking face to face, and then the cold world of technology, and we're getting farther apart. That is touched on a lot in this book. And the book follows a woman called Sloane, who is one of the world's best trend forecasters, and she's hired by a tech company to help design things made for people who are purposely childless. And just all heck breaks loose in her life. Her senses are telling her that she's going in the wrong direction. That's all I'm gonna say. Sometimes I just can't put things into words. But the other book I read is the book I talked about on my last video, which was the My European Family. It comes out the same day as the Touch book. This one was originally released in Sweden. Obviously, if you're not interested in genealogy and DNA and science and history, this is not going to be for you, but I really, really enjoyed it. It's been a very, very, very long time since I've read anything having to do with genetics. When I was in elementary school, I was like obsessed with genetics, and I'd constantly be reading about genetics, but I haven't touched any of that stuff in many, many years, and I really enjoyed it. I will say that there were moments where I was a little overwhelmed because, as I said, it's very information heavy, and I'd have to take a step back, but I was never bored reading it. And the third book I read since Giselle's, which I finished yesterday morning, I read it in one sitting, was Wendy's Button Box by Stephen King and Richard Chizmar. I feel bad. I hate it when I mispronounce names. Mainly, there was 2 reasons why I picked up this book when I saw it at the library. Number 1, it's Stephen King. Number 2, it is a novella. I felt myself kind of not wanting to read. I have a list of digital galleys from First Read that I need to read, and I'm just sitting here like, I don't wanna. I've been dealing with depression, and sometimes it helps to kind of have a reading cleanser, like a palate cleanser. And so usually what I will do is I will pick up something that can be read quickly, that doesn't take a huge amount of investing of time and energy. And that will usually be like a very small book of poetry or a novella. I finished this in one sitting. This one was really interesting. Basically, it starts with a 12-year-old girl who is doing something that she's been doing every day, which is running up what's called suicide stairs, because she's trying to lose weight. She's been bullied, and she bumps into this mysterious man in all black who gives her this button box that does all different types of things depending on which button you push. And it's like a burden that's put on to her, and you just read the events that go on since that. I loved it. When I went through some reviews, some people felt a little let down by the ending. I'm pretty sure this isn't really a spoiler, so I don't worry about saying this. But I'll just say that the book didn't actually go in detail about all these buttons, and I think that's what people expected. But the thing is, when you are reading a short story or a novella, not everything is going to be given to you like that. A book doesn't have to answer every single question that you have. And I think a book is allowed to be mysterious, and a book is allowed to make you mad. I think some people wanted this book fleshed out, but in my head I'm like, that's why it's called a novella and not a novel. It doesn't have to be fleshed out. It's not a novel. Okay? It's basically an expanded short story. It doesn't have to be fleshed out. Every question doesn't have to be answered. I thought it was good. I really did think it was good. And speaking of Stephen King, that trailer for The Dark Tower just had me drooling. It looks so good, but I have a painful thing to admit, and that is the fact that I have not read one Dark Tower book. Over the years, I've had them, the majority of them in my possession, and life happens, and I have not read one of them. And I can't watch the movie because apparently the movie is not really an adaptation of the book. It's actually a continuation, so it's basically what happens after the last book. So I would really have to read all these books. I don't really go to the movie theater because the movie theaters here suck, so I have plenty of time because I'm just gonna have to wait until it comes out on DVD and check it out from the library. But the trailer looks good. So I read 3 books this month. Woohoo. But honestly, if I had to pick out of the 3 books which one was my favorite, I think the Stephen King was my favorite. I was busy. Okay, I haven't been feeling well. I am not ashamed of the fact that I suffer from mental illness. I have not been having a good time. At least I'm trying. I am trying to make these videos. It's just literally just from the beginning of this year, I just don't understand what's going on. Until I get myself together, the next 2 videos, my next video is either, I haven't decided if it's going to be talking about why I will never read 50 Shades of Grey or watch the movies, or the books that I have abandoned, DNF'd, and why. Well, I am so sorry about this very tired, boring vlog, but not all my vlogs are going to be exciting. So I hope you all have a great week. If you don't hear from me, which you probably won't because I am dragging my behind, stay safe, take care of yourself, and happy reading. Happy reading.